All right, here we go. Welcome into Philadelphia Eagles Now by Chat Sports. Chase Sr. here with you. A loaded show coming your way. Are the Philadelphia Eagles getting disrespected once again by the national media, not buying into the last undefeated team in the NFL? We're going to take a look at some power rankings from places like ESPN and some other national outlets. First, though, a roster acquisition for the Eagles because at the end of the day, kickers are people too. Now, we talked about this on Monday, that because of that Jake Elliott injury, if he were to get hurt and not be able to play Week 5 Sunday against the Arizona Cardinals, the Eagles would probably make a roster move at that kicker spot to bring a kicker onto the practice squad and maybe elevate him to the 53-man roster for game day in case Jake Elliott would not be able to play. So they're really playing it safe here by signing the former Texas Longhorns legend Cameron Dicker to the practice squad. Jake Elliott got banged up, as we know, late in that game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. So if he can't go, it'd be Dicker the kicker. He infamously earned that nickname during the Red River rivalry as a freshman with Texas against Oklahoma. He hit a 40-yard field goal to win that ball game, and that caused the great announcer, Gus Johnson, to say, "Dicker, the kicker." So it really made him an all-time legend. He actually set the record for the most field goals made at Texas for a freshman. Did not get drafted, obviously, coming out of college, but did spend a couple of moments with the Los Angeles Rams, the Baltimore Ravens, and now the Philadelphia Eagles as he tries to find traction in his NFL career. Obviously, he's not going to replace Jake Elliott, who is one of the better field goal kickers in the game. Last year, he was 90%. 3 of 3 from 50-plus yards, but certainly notable there. Okay, let's get to this potential disrespect from the national media toward the Philadelphia Eagles. In my opinion, outlets out there are not giving the Eagles their proper respect in their NFL power rankings. Now, we can overreact to that. We can go crazy. That's fine. What I do know, if you're about that underdog life, I want you to hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. I'm going to order one of these masks here that we're about to show you in the coming days so that we can put them on during our watch party. But I actually prefer being an underdog. Less pressure. I like being chased, and I don't really like to kind of do the chasing. So the Eagles as underdogs, we're cool with it. This franchise, this team, they've thrived. They have flourished in that role before, and I'm starting to get 2017 vibes with this 2022 team. They were rocking out the dreams and nightmares by Meek Mill in the locker room after that Jags comeback in which they embarked on 29 unanswered points. So I'm cool with this right here. If you're cool with the underdog life, hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. So the argument against the Eagles from a lot of people in the national media up to this point, even though Philadelphia's been dominant on both sides of the ball, they've really displayed a multifaceted and layered approach to how they can win games because they can win pretty, they can win ugly. But a lot of people are saying, well, the Philadelphia Eagles, they might be 4-0, but they haven't played anybody. The Lions, Vikings, Commanders, and Jags, they all stink. Well, the Lions have actually been sneakily pretty good. The Vikings only have one loss. It's to the Eagles, and they dump trucked the Green Bay Packers week 1, and their over-under for wins was sitting at like 8.5, 9, 9.5. A lot of people think they're a sneaky team to come out of the NFC, and the Eagles dominated them. Commanders, yeah, they're probably not going to be all that good. But then going into the game last week, I had told you, don't sleep on the Jags. And why? Because they come out, they score 14 unanswered to begin the game, but they also have a good team, and a lot of people were hyping Jacksonville up, but because the Eagles came back, all of a sudden, they're not a good team. So get out of here with that disrespect. Some telling Eagles numbers that I do think are pretty notable that speaks to their dominance and why I believe the Eagles are the number 1 team as compared to other teams in the NFL. It's how they're winning, it's how they're playing, it's the depth and the overall dominance that we've seen. Scoring margin. They're second in the NFL behind the Buffalo Bills, outscoring opponents by an average of 11 points per game. Total offense, second, checking in at north of 435 yards. Passing yards per game, Jalen Hurts is number 2. Points per game, fourth at nearly 29, which is really an astounding number. And then you look at the right side of your screen, defensive numbers. First in sacks with 16, tied for first for takeaways at 10, yards allowed third, and points allowed 10th. Of course, you have to give credit to Jonathan Gannon, Howie Roseman for building this football team, but give some credit to the Philadelphia Eagles for taking care of the opponents on their schedule and dominating the teams that they have been faced and matched up against. And the Eagles really, at the end of the day, they're taking care of business. They're dominating teams, they're taking names in the process, and they're playing bully ball, not just offensively with the best offensive line in the NFL, but with the defense that's getting after the opposing quarterback. 16 sacks, yeah, you had 9 against Carson Wentz, but they've really come into their own the last few weeks. What I also like about the Birds, they can win in a variety of ways, and I think that's important as the season progresses. Injuries are going to happen. Conditions are going to come into play. You're going to go up against an offense that can be frenetic where you have to score points. The Eagles can do that and win in a shootout. A low-scoring game, they have the defense in the run game to do that. You want to play fast? They can do that as well. You want to play physical? The Eagles, they'll jam that ball right down your throat. Now, you look at where the Eagles are on a couple of these power rankings from these national outlets. Fourth from the Ringer behind the Buffalo Bills, Kansas City Chiefs, and the Green Bay Packers. First of all, the Packers are ahead of the Eagles, the only unbeaten team in the NFL, and they've definitely been the best team in the NFC. I guess you can make an argument as to why the Bills and Chiefs might be ahead of Philadelphia, but we're talking about the only 4-0 team in the NFL. As for what the Ringer said with their reasoning, Week 4 showed us that there is just so much margin for error with this Eagles team. I agree. Jalen Hurts was late throwing a crossing route early in the first quarter. The ball was ultimately intercepted for a pick 6. That mistake contributed to a 14-0 first quarter hole in the pouring rain at home. But Hurts and the Eagles, what did they do? Proved too talented and too well coached for any early deficit to matter. Miles Sanders ran for a career high 134 yards and 2 tutties. And linebacker Haason Reddick had a great game as well. 2 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries in that comeback victory. After withstanding a slow start from Hurts and surviving the unforgiving weather against a good Jaguars team, the Eagles look like a team that's built to last. So if they're built to last and they did all of this, why do you have them so low in your NFL power rankings? It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. The Eagles have been excellent. Have they not watched what Philadelphia has been able to do and how they've been able to perform in these respective games? Now, I do want to see where everybody is at with this fan base because, of course, we don't want to get our head over our skis and really enter that tricky, precarious territory in which we get too confident and we set ourselves up for heartbreak. But where are the Eagles at in your opinion? U for underrated, P for properly rated, or O for overrated? I want you to let me know right now in the comment section. Also, make sure you hit me up, Twitter and IG, at Chase_Senior. It's been a blast taking over this channel, and I've really taken it upon myself to try and make it the best Eagles channel on all of YouTube. Lock us in, subscribe, hit me up on social media as well. Now, the focus for the Birds does shift to Week 5, a road game as the reunion tour continues, this time against Zach Ertz, this coming after they took on Doug Peterson, and the week before that, Carson Wentz. They're 5-point favorites against the Cardinals, with the over-under set at 48.5. I think the Birds dominate this game. Now, it could be one of those letdown spots, but I think the Eagles are too good to let that happen, and they're too good. I think their pass rush is going to confuse Kyler Murray, who cannot break down defenses when you look at the film. If you want to bet on this game, make sure you do so with our sportsbook partner, BetUS. 125% deposit bonus if you head to chatsports.com/EaglesBet, promo code Eagles125. As for ESPN's power rankings, a little bit better, I guess, than the Ringer, but still third. And look, you have Patrick Mahomes with the Chiefs. You have Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. And yes, those are 2 elite quarterbacks who are probably better than Jalen Hurts. But we're talking about the overall team here. The Bills can't run the football. The Chiefs do have some holes. The Eagles, in my opinion, don't really have a weakness on this team. That's why I think they're number 1. Thankfully, from ESPN, they're ahead of Green Bay as well as Miami, but still, level of disrespect here. Now, Tim McManus is hashtag a Philly guy. He did say this about the Eagles, and he does cover them for ESPN, but it wasn't him solely putting the Eagles where he did, or where ESPN did, I should say. He said the biggest issue on defense is injuries to the secondary. Even that's a reach, as cornerbacks Darius Slay and Avonte Maddox are expected back soon, but there's little to pick apart. The Eagles, first in sacks, tied for first in takeaways, third in yards allowed, as we talked about, 10th in points allowed. They look really solid from front to back, even with safety Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, formerly of the Saints, acclimating to a new position and team. And that's really what it comes down to for me. The Eagles just don't have too many weaknesses on this roster. Now, it's really fun to talk about a team that doesn't have any weaknesses, but whether they're playing great or they're playing poorly, we have you covered with the most interactive, informative Eagles coverage year-round. We don't take an off season. We don't take a day off. Videos coming your way basically every single day. So hit that red subscribe button. The goal by the end of the year, 50,000 subs. I think we can do that. The Athletic Power Rankings. Here we go. Clap it up for The Athletic. They have some sense behind their power rankings. It's the only undefeated team atop the power rankings. Makes sense, right? Ahead of the Bills, ahead of the Chiefs. Baltimore Ravens making an appearance for the first time in the top 5 among these outlets, and then the Miami Dolphins at number 5. The reasoning from The Athletic, what I've continued to say over the last couple of weeks, the Eagles can win in multiple ways. Throwing, running, physical, freestyle, knock them out, drag them out, brawl, bully ball, low scoring, high scoring. Like, I just love how this team is kind of gelling on all cylinders right now. A reprogramming reminder here on the channel. I'm actually going to be flying to the Philadelphia area on Thursday because I'm going to a wedding in New York on Friday, middle of nowhere, New York, but really excited to get back to the Philadelphia area. If I was there for an extended period of time, I'd let y'all know where I'm at so that we could kick it and have some beers. I'm just not going to have enough time. I think myself and my girlfriend are going to go to the Post Malone concert at the Wells Fargo Center Thursday night potentially, but because there's no live show this week, you can't send in a super chat. You can super thanks though. It's a new function on YouTube where you can send in your donations, and if you send us a super thanks tonight or going into tomorrow, I'll give you a shout-out on Eagles Now on Wednesday. So you basically hit that heart icon with the $sign. We appreciate your support. You send us a super thanks. We will give you a shout-out. Another way you can help out the channel as we continue to grow and take over. As always, appreciate everybody for tuning in, and until next time, fly, Eagles, fly.